All right, it's Grilling Grounds. It's game number 3 in week 6 of Myth Kickballers. Kruniak versus Giant Killer General. Some of these players we've seen from prior tournaments, like Karmisi, for instance, was the winner of Milkman's Free For All League, and Giant Killer General, of course, being the captain of the Southern Parkians in the previous Myth World Cup. And I don't know if he won in the year before, but I would assume there's a pretty good chance of that. And then, of course, he's squaring off with this is actually Kruniak, who's kind of like uh, I don't know. I kind of see Kruniak as like a cheerleader for Team Giant Killer General. Kruniak is I think he's been featured on just about every team Giant Killer General has led in recent memory. So it's kind of curious. I'm curious to see Giant Killer General versus Kruniak in a kickball setting like this. But anyway, I'm on Kruniak's team in this particular game and match. We have for Kruniak's team, Merkur Dawn, Dak or DAC, myself, HW, Sasper, Rower, and Shadow. Up in the north is going to be the black team. That's Giant Killer General's team. He has Kirk, Dom, Sam the Butcher, Kramisi, Professional Killer, Thor, and Funky. I do want to draw your attention to just a slight difference. These trades are almost identical, except for this lone dwarf here. Giant Killer General is going to go for a single dwarf, perhaps to defend the flag, perhaps to, I don't know, block warlock shots. I'm not really sure. But instead of a dwarf, Kruniak is just going to opt for 3 extra warriors. Everything else is identical though. Maximum Tro, maximum archers, maximum berserks, maximum warlocks. And then the rest being dumped into some extra melee, these warriors here. Those will probably be for flag defense, I imagine, as will these. Because warriors are just, not too good. They're too slow to really run away, to outrun warlock shots, and they just die really fast to Tro rushes. They're just not all that great. But I guess when you have them clumped together, they can be pretty okay, as long as there's no like artillery really really messing them up. But so I kind of see them as they're not the main feature of this kind of trade. They're just kind of an afterthought. Like, what else can I put my points into? Now the introduction of a dwarf is kind of curious because it's not a dwarf hero, and dwarf heroes never dud and they never bounce. This is a regular dwarf, so it is kind of susceptible to randomized physics a little bit. So I'm kind of curious to see how it's used. I don't know if it's going to be on offense or defense. I would imagine it would be on defense, but you never know. I guess maybe as like a last resort against something like a warlock, since they aren't too terribly reliable. And we can see Giant Killer General is going to be snaking around with a couple of these berserks to kind of scout out the sides. Something similar happening here with Sasper, and I imagine Dak doing something like that too with that berserk. I guess that's what's happening. Meanwhile, I think the majority of each team is going to kind of clash here in the middle. And I do want to mention that Giant Killer General is kind of pioneering, although he's not actually doing the work. I think Zach is actually doing the fear work and whatnot, but Giant Killer General is kind of proposing some changes to the myth engine, but not innately. It would be through something like a plugin, where there are things like duds don't factor in as much, and there's other gameplay changes as well. Anyway, we'll continue to I'll give you some more coverage on that as it happens, but I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. As obviously there's gonna need to be some more testing done. So one of these archers going down, but all of Kirk's fire arrows being loosed in that one volley. Looks like so I had control of this warlock here, and so this guy Professional Killer was kind of a thorn in my side. Murkerdon is going to be on this flank though, so they're going to be kind of keeping each other in check. The middle, of course, is the most vulnerable because of, you know, the flanks they can either focus down each other, or they can kind of move in and fire some volleys into the mid. So the mid always has that, there's always that possibility that you'll get flanked. Excuse me. So yeah, we have Thor, Kirk, Funky, and Sam the Butcher all here mid, and then for our mid, on Kruniak's team we have Rower and HW, so kind of interesting. HW seems to be losing quite a number of archers here. I'm not sure if this middle force has lost any yet. But yeah, outnumbered here in the middle, although our flanks are slightly larger. Shadow versus Karamisi on this flank. And then on the opposite flank, of course, Professional Killer and Murkerdon. And Dak needs to be really careful here. He's trying to use this this obstacle here, this feature of the landscape to kind of block some of that arrow fire. I think it worked out pretty okay. Tries to get a shot off. Doesn't actually do any damage though. And yeah, this Warlock taking some damage from Sam the Butcher.
Flag contested.
Nice block by DAC there with that Warlock. And it looks as if, I don't know, Professional Killer lost his Warlock. Another shot off from Thor, but I don't think he actually connects with anything. Then there was another shot. But yeah, it looks like Kirk actually lost a lot of archers here. At least a couple. There's a third one going down, so he only has one archer remaining. Dak loses his Warlock and actually manages to get a nice shot off, taking out one of Thor's. So actually, Kruniak's team is doing really well in terms of the archer battle. I would say 85-76%, so almost a 10-point differential. Doing quite good. I almost lose my Warlock, but managed to hold on to it. And some more archers going down for Giant Killer General's team. It looks like Giant Killer General's not doing so hot at all. Sam the Butcher and Kremisi. Sam the Butcher, I guess, falls back to help out with Kremisi. I don't know if he says. No, I don't think he was told to do that. So a couple archers get lost by HW there, but there's only like 2 archers here remaining. And Kruniak is going to push the advantage. He is going to run in here and maybe take out this archer. He ends up taking out that archer, a little bit of damage. But all of a sudden there could be an engagement here in the middle. Giant Killer General is going to respond by aggregating some of this, some of these berserkers, or berserks, I should say. It's not Mazarins and Mize. Some of these are going to run in for Rower and try to trap one of those Tro, and it looks like one of them does indeed go down. Although my Warlock ends up getting sniped while that was happening. I think Thor ended up doing that. I don't know why Murkerdon couldn't take out that stupid archer. And Giant Killer General is going to keep pressing, but I think that this is a losing engagement for him. Nice shot. That was one of the most beautiful shots that I've seen in this game anyway. Sasper on the dealing end of that, but nice return fire there. I believe HW just lost almost the rest of his archers. He only has 1 remaining. That was Sam the Butcher, was it? With that? I don't know. I guess it was. I thought he killed more than just 1 unit though, so I'm not sure.
Flag contested.
And it's right now there's double doubled the units in terms of percentages here for Kruniak's team. So I think it's just a matter of time before they take this game. What the way I'd analyze it, I would say that somehow Kruniak's team was able to come out on top in the Archer battle. I guess they had just some better lock shots off. I'm not really sure what happened with that because both teams started out with the same number of archers, and early on, Giant Killer General's team took kind of an early lead with. Is this archer gonna? Nope, he is going to survive, and Kruniak is going to take this opportunity to try to kick as many archers as possible. So, yeah, as we saw, Giant Killer General did take an early lead with the archer. He had an archer advantage, and you know, I wasn't quite sure like how that ended up being compromised. Like it seemed like there was no way that was that could have been turned around in such a decisive manner. Now that dwarf dropped its satchels for some reason, so Dumb isn't going to be able to take out this Tro
Flag contested.
by letting himself be kicked. Although Kruniak might lose his Tro
Flag contested.
just to these warriors. Though Kramisi's Warlock is still alive for the time being, he ends up getting sniped by all of these archers.
Flag
And I think there was like one Berserk on the flag on the other end.
Flag
Kruniak does actually survive, even though his Tro is basically dead. It's turned to stone. So yeah, I'm not quite sure like what the play was that turned things around, because you know it went from like a definite advantage for Giant Killer General's team to all of a sudden Kruniak's team had many more archers than. So I don't know if that was DAC or like or who that was. Maybe it was HW. I have no idea. Was it Kruniak going in there and kicking an archer or two? Like I didn't quite see that. If you happen to watch this film or participate and you know the answer to this, like how did that happen? Then go ahead and let me know what you think. Because I'm starting to think that I missed it entirely. I don't know what how that turned around so decisively, but I do know that Kruniak did rush in, and then when he rushed back out, one Giant Killer General did press the advantage, or kind of pressed with his Tro anyway. Ended up getting trapped between some Berserks and losing one, so that kind of put his team at a disadvantage after that, since Kruniak had 2 remaining Tro at that point. Is this one too? No. Yeah. I guess both his Tros survived somehow. Pretty amazing. So he only has 1 loss because of that. And I guess with the Tro he does actually net damage. With HW not too far behind. Rower also 91 damage. He was on that one flank, so Rower actually managing to do pretty well, getting a lot of damage with his archers. Other than that, I guess Sasper and Murkerdon not doing too bad. And I guess the whole team didn't do all that bad when you look at it. Although Dak and myself didn't do all that much. But Giant Killer General managing to get damage for his team, and nobody else really coming close to that. I guess Kramisi did okay, Thor did okay, but Professional Killer did okay damage-wise. But everyone else, not getting too much in terms of kills or damage. So, very interesting. Kruniak is able to, his team is able to pull through and win this game. So now he's up in the series 2-1. And I guess we'll take a look at games 4 and 5 just to see what happens. So game number 4 shall be next, and we'll see you there.
Team eliminated. Game over.
Nice. Friendly fire there.